Hello and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. This is part 2 of our gameplay of Drive to the Sea. This is from Battles in the East, Volume 3, published by Decision Games and designed by Antony Birkett. And we did the first turn for the Soviet side. Now we will do the first turn for the German side, and I will probably take frequent pauses and just kind of move things along a little more quickly because it took quite a while to get through the Soviet turn. And the Soviets have way more units, I guess, or a lot more units, I should probably correctly say. So their turn took longer than I expect the Germans will, but the Germans have a lot of, potentially, they have a lot of moves they can, make. So I am going to get started. We'll get right into things here. I'm not sure how long I'll make this one. I want to complete at least one turn so you can see both sides of the equation here. But as is usually the case, I doubt we'll see much more than one or perhaps two turns here in this particular playthrough. So, having said all that, let's get down to brass tacks here and start doing some stuff. So we now go through the reinforcement phase, and the Germans actually do have reinforcements arriving. They're up here, right here, and we've got the 509th Regiment, the 233rd, and the 232nd, all of which are from the 102nd Division. And they entered picked them up, and I wasn't paying that much attention, but you can see here we have our reinforcement schedules. 102nd Division, 3 units at Hex 3023, which is right here. They are on a road. So I can quickly show you our terrain effects chart here. Right, so here's our TEC. Move it down a little bit. So we do have a road, this red road here. That's the road. We also have railroad, but they're basically the same in terms of movement. I think these are all infantry. Yes, they're all infantry. So they would cost 1 movement per hex, regardless of whether it's road or railroad. So I would think, want to move them up into a position where they may be able to help stem the tide here, as the Soviets are going to push their way through the defense line here. So this is going to be kind of a mobile defense, essentially. I would guess as much as we can make that work, because basically to win, the Germans have to simply they have to hold, but they have to draw things out at the same time so that they don't get swamped. So their movement factors are all 5, because on the counters we have attack, defense, and then movement. So moving on road, we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and get into this area. So maybe we'll go, we'll do one at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll take this guy and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll take this guy, which has an anti-tank. Actually, no, let's not do it that way. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll put this guy in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like so. This way they're all adjacent, and they have a river here, and I can move them up one. Well, they also are in forest here, which gives you some benefit. Woods. You can see you get a column shift of 1 to the left, which is nice for the defender. So that's why we would do that. Now let's do a little local counterattack, maybe. Perhaps. Well, I don't know. Maybe not, because we have a river here. It may not be worth it to try to do anything there, because these guys have a pretty solid. I mean, their defense rating is pretty high. You need to find someone that's a little bit weaker, and we may be better off just trying to move some reinforcements up. I don't want to relinquish our favorable defensive terrain here, all of these field forts, we want to hold those as much as possible. Now, the Soviets have quite a lot of power, so they're going to eventually break this line. But we want to keep it intact as much as possible. So what we're really concerned with is all of the secondary area behind it. Now down here, which is off map, but in this direction, right down this road here from Milau, down in this way, we have the 83rd Division in Sickelberg, or Siekelberg, right, with 3 regiments, one of which is equipped with anti-tank guns. They have 5 movement points as well. If I zoom out a little bit, let's do that. Okay, they are right here. Okay, so they can move 5 as well, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get up here to Rasiaz. So let's do that for these guys, and we'll keep them together for now. And we have our army headquarters here. I'm not going to move them yet, and we're gonna sit tight here with the Großdeutschland Panzer Corps right there. And this is the Großdeutschland unit that started the war, I think, as a regiment, and eventually became a Panzer Corps, as it is right here. Continued to grow up the chain, so to speak. So I think the Germans probably should not bother to try to attack because that's risky. Okay, so over here we have this first guard tank that moved up, and underneath that we have the some divisions here, and their total defense strength, as I spew them all over the place, their total defense strength is 2, 3, 6, and they do get a column shift as well. But we have a whole bunch of units around them that we can attack them with. And they're also, yeah, they're in that fort area. So if I move this guy in, because according to our, okay, so we have the 7th Panzer Division here, 3 regiments. So we have a regiment here. Each regiment, of course, is 1 RE. So if I moved this entire division in next to this guy, that would put me at 4. So that would be good. And this has a strength of 7, plus this would be 9. So that's actually not bad. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to move this guy, and now this is just a battalion here of Tigers with a reduced regiment, and we're going to move them here to close that hole. And that'll be the entirety of their movement phase, and then we will go next. We have the combat phase, or the initial movement phase, I guess is what it says here. So then we'll go to the combat phase, and we can attack. And we've got a nice little grouping of units here, right here. This is going to be the only attack the Germans will do. It's a counterattack. Let's see if we can bump these guys out of here. So we've got we've got an entire division here. So we have, let's see, we have 3, 2, 2, 2. So that is 9. Then we have 12 here, and that one is a 0. Okay, so that's 12 total. Then if we use these guys, we get 13, 14. And if we use these guys, we get 15, 16. And on the defender side, they've got 4. I believe it's only 4. No, it's 5. So 16-5 is 3-1. So it's a 3-1 ratio. They get a shift to the left to make it 2-1. We'll use our HQ here to give us our shift back to the right to make it 3-1 again, and we're going to attack. So we're attacking at a 3-1. Nobody's attacking across a river. So, and that's a clear terrain hex. And we rolled a 4, which is decent. So 4 in the 3-1 column is a 1-1. Okay, so a 1-1. Now, the Soviets are not going to retreat, and the Germans won't either. I'm going to actually eliminate this unit because it's already reduced, so I'll just eliminate it. I don't want to retreat. And then on the Soviet side, we'll just reduce this this unit here, the 369th. We're going to reduce that, make it a 215, and put it underneath this guy. And that's it for the Germans. Then we would go to the air phase. The Germans have no air to deal with. There is no interdiction in this particular scenario. And so now we go to the game turn indication phase. Check for any victory points players receive for objective occupation this turn. There's none. Move or remove any attack supply markers. We don't have to do that. Advance the game turn marker 1 box to indicate the end of the turn and the beginning of the next one. And that's where we are right now. So I am going to pause here and get ready for turn 2. It'll be just a second for you guys, but I'll be back. Okay, we are set up here for turn 2. Now we will need to roll for weather, so I'll do that first. Put this out here. Anything but a 6 will be frost/clear. And it's a 6. And a 6 is, I'm sorry, anything but a 1 was going to be snow. So I had it backwards in my head for some reason. But we have snow. So snow halves the movement allowance of all units, no air support. After 2 snow turns, the remainder of the game is frost/clear. Okay, so that's going to be an issue for both sides, but more so for the Soviets. Now, they do have some reinforcements. They've got the 49th Army coming in here, and they've got the 3rd GCC coming in over here. So we are in the reinforcement phase. Well, we have an air support, the air support phase, but the Soviets get 3 again. But because it's snow, they're not going to be able to use it. So they miss out on that bonus. And next turn, the next few turns, actually, they would have 2. So we just have to hope we don't roll for snow. The chance of snow in turns 3 to 10 is only a 5 or a 6, so basically 33%. But anyway, we've got these guys here. So we have the HQ, of course. Then we've got some divisions, as you might expect, a bunch of them. Total of 7, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one is a battalion, or a brigade, rather. And it is the 47th Mech Brigade. So they come in here at 30-36, I think. The 30-26 to 30-30. So I can bring them in all along here if I want to. So we'll start here, and we're going to bring the HQ in here as well. And we'll put one of these on top. And we'll put 2 of these here. And we'll keep these guys together, put them here, and I'm going to put this one here. And now they can move. So halved movement doesn't do them much good. We'll leave the HQ where he is. They're going to move here and then here. So now we've got the ability to knock that guy out. We don't have enough movement to do an overrun. So we're just going to set up for an attack in the combat phase right there. Now we've got this guy as well. And they've got 7s. All of them are 7s. So they're going to come in. And this, of course, is part of the 3rd Army, because they have the same color, the blue. So these guys are highly mobile, but they all come in through hex 3031, which is this guy right here where the 235 is. And they're all divisions. Well, no, we've got 3 divisions and a brigade. So just those guys by themselves, I believe, are 7. Where is it? There it is. Oh, 3 Soviet infantry divisions are 2 REs and a mech, armor, or cavalry is 1. So let's see. We've got cavalry. So that's 1. We've got a brigade, which is also 1. Then we have another cavalry division. So that's 3. And they're all cavalry, actually, which makes sense that the cavalry corps. So they can all, that's 3. And we can overstack here up to 7. So these are 4 exactly. So that makes this 7. So we're just going to drop them right in there. They have a lot of firepower they can use. And they could attempt an overrun, but I'm not going to. We're going to just do a regular attack here on this guy to see if we can just get around. You know, if we can break this here, then we have a path to go around and start making some hay. Now, in terms of things further downstream here, we have the 70th Army at the bottom, and it's got the 1st Guard Tank Brigade. And we can move that in, and I'm going to put him, he has movement of 7, which is halved. So he can go 1. If he goes here, he's in a zone of control. 1, 2, zone of control. So basically, he can go here or here, but no further. So let's put him, we're going to put him here, I think. Give some armor in this area. Okay. So I didn't check supply when you're supposed to, but all of these guys are in supply. Nobody has advanced out of there. So we're going to just go with that. And let's get it moving here. So we move on to the combat phase. And again, you're supposed to check supply whenever you do, whenever you hit combat. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that we have a better view. So we'll start up here with the 49th. And we're going to attack this regiment right here with all of these guys we're going to pile on. So we have an attack strength there of 4. And these guys are 3, 2, 3. So that's 8 plus 4 is 12. Plus 3 more is 15. Plus 1 more is 16. So that's 16 to 2, which is 8 to 1. And that's pretty good odds, actually. But they're in a forest, so they do get a 1 column shift to the left. And yeah, they're going to get 1 column shift to the left, which will make it a 7 to 1, which is still pretty bad odds for them. And they do have an HQ, so they can use that, and they would use it to get 2 shifts to the right, which would make it 9 to 1. So the only way this turns out badly for the Russians is if they roll a 4, because they would take 1 step loss. Everything else is going to be a bad day for the Germans, basically. They rolled a 6, which is a straight up elimination. As you can see here, straight up E/E. No losses. This guy is eliminated. That was bad decision making on my part to put them there. Because I did, in theory, have foreknowledge that the Russians were going to be coming in right here. I just didn't bother to look. And that is my bad, for sure. Okay, so now we can do a post-combat advance, rather. So we'll just move these guys up here, because we can't really overstack now that we're out of this area. All right, so they've moved up. Now we'll come over here, and we've got our cavalry. We're going to attack this guy. Now, they're going to have some pretty good defense here because they're across a river. Oh, they were also across a river. So that should have been That's a minor river. Let me look. Minor river would have been a 2 column shift to the left. Rolled a 6. That would have been a 3 asterisk. So they still would have taken a step loss. That was a 1-step unit. So that unit would have been eliminated regardless. So again, I misinterpreted it, but it worked out as it should have. So they are across a river. So that's a 2 to the left. They're also on a field fortification. So they're going to get a 3 to the left. Their defense strength is 4. Now the attackers, we've got 3, 5, 7, 10, 12. So that's 12 to 4, which is 3 to 1. But again, they'd get a 3 shift to the left. We could throw the HQ's 2 column shift to the right in there if we want to. Or we can just try to load it up here with these additional... Oh, wait, are they on a field fort? They are. Okay. So they've got 6 more. So I forgot what we had. 6, 9, 11, 13... Come on, 16, 18. 18 to 4 is still 4 to 1. And 4 to 1. So 4 to 1 with a 3 column shift to the left would be 1 to 1. So we don't have any air support because of the snow, but I am going to use my HQ up there for the 3rd Army, and we are going to roll our die, and it is a 3 to 1. And we got a 6, and a 6 on 3 to 1, -1. So they can retreat, or they can take a step loss. I think in this case they're going to retreat. And then these guys can advance. So we will advance all of these guys, because this is still an area they can overstack. So they're going to go there. That way we can attack them again next turn if we want to. All right. Now let's move on and try. So these guys are basically done. We'll move on and try down here. Now I could have moved some stuff up here and I didn't. Trying to stage things, also protect some of my units on the Soviet side for a potential breakout later. We could try here. We could try here where we could get these both involved, which is probably the smarter play. So if we did that, we've got 2 plus an armor shift there, an anti-tank shift. So that's a defense of 4 with a plus, with a 1 to the left for the field fortification. So the Russian tank shift would be, they have multiple, but just gets canceled out. So we've got 3, 6, 9 in this stack, and then 2, 4, 5 in that stack. So 9 and 5 is 14 to 4 is 3 to 1. And they get a shift for that to make it 2 to 1. We'll take our 2 column shift from the 48th Army to make it 4 to 1, and we'll roll. It's a 2. 2 on a 4 to 1 is a 1/1. So both sides will lose 1 step, or the Germans can retreat. I hate to lose my... We'll take the step loss because this is a 2-step unit, which means we don't have to retreat. And then they'll take 1 as well. Let's see what we have here. And the other one that attacked was this one right here. They actually had a unit that took a step loss last time. So I'm going to eliminate 1. We'll take the 2nd step loss there because I have a replacement division right behind. And I can move up to join those guys. And that's the end of that. Now we have this right here. We can try to do something with. So to keep our integrity together, right? So we've got 3, 6, 8, 10 here, and we're going to attack this one right here. And then this one is 3, 6, 9, 12. So that's 22. And they have 2, 4, and a column shift. It's also across a minor river. So they're going to get a 3 shift, and there's a village there, or a town rather, which is no effect. It's just other terrain and hex. So we got a total of a 3 to the left. 22 to 4 is a 5 to 1. Becomes a 2 to 1. We will use, well, we've got Rokossovsky, and I could give them 4 to the left, which would make it 6 to 1. So let's do that. Let's try and crack them right here. 6 to 1 with a 4 is -2. So the Germans can take 2 step losses or retreat. They're going to retreat. So they will go 1. Actually, no, they'll go 1, 2, I think. And maybe we'll retreat them separately and do it like this. Okay, then they can advance. We'll take, I think we'll take this stack and advance them. Because now I can move this guy up into that hole. Now here, we've got a 2, 4, 5, 7. And here we have 4. So that would be 1 to 1, 1 column shift, no river. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We are not going to do that. That's not a good idea. We're going to hit this guy here again, though, with the 65th Army's units. So we have here 2, 5, 6. We do have a reduced unit there. And here we have a 3. So it's 9, 12, 15, 17. And then these guys will be 19, 21, 25. And they will get their integrity, so we won't involve these guys here. The blue guys from the 70th will not participate here. And they get a 1 column shift. Yeah, they're in clear terrain, so they only get the 1 column shift there. So 1 column shift, attack of 4. That's 5 to 1, shifts to 4, plus 2 would be 6 to 1. So we'll do a 6 to 1 shift, a 6 to 1 roll rather. 3. 3 is 1/2. 1/2. So they have to retreat 2. They'll leave their field fort behind. And they will go, well, this is an interesting case now, right? Because we've got to retreat through an Ezok. We go this way, we got zone of control here and here. If we retreat this way, we've got this one. But we do have a friendly unit here, and we have a friendly unit here as well. So what does that mean in terms of what we can do? So here in 12.6, here in the red, right, because you have D, unit may never retreat into or through an enemy unit or an Ezok. Exception, friendly units with a non-parenthesized defense strength of 1 or greater that are not participating in the combat currently being resolved negate Ezoks for purposes of retreat. So neither of our German units here, this guy and this guy, have parenthesized, so they can go either way. So we're going to retreat. They have to retreat 2. So we will retreat them to here, I think. Just leave them there. And the Russians there on that result of 1/2, they have to take a step loss. So let's see, who would be the best to take that? I don't want to take it from one of my armor units. We have one that's already reduced right here. So we will eliminate that one to satisfy that. And then we can advance. And we will move these guys up. Okay. Now we're going to hit this stack right here with these three. So let's see what we've got here. I'm just going to move this out of the way. We've got 3, 5, 7, 10 in this pile. So 10 here. And then here we have 1, 3, so 11, 13, 15, 17. And then here, 19, 21, 23. So they have 23 on the attacker's side. On the defender side, we've got the field fort. And we've got a total of 4. So that resolves to 5-1. They get the 1 column shift to make it a 4-1. Then we'll shift it back to 6-1. We'll roll our attack. And we rolled a 1, which is awful. But that still inflicts 1 loss on these guys. So they will retreat rather than take any losses. And they will go here. These guys can slide back into their spot. And these guys are, whoops, here now. And then these guys can advance. All right. Now we have another stack here, but I think they already took a loss and were reduced on this previously. So they have an attack of 5. They have a 2. The armor versus the anti-tank would offset. So 5-2 is a 2-1. They do not get any terrain bonuses. So we should give it a shot. So we're attacking at 2-1 there. Nobody gets any column shifts. Although actually they get a 1 to the right for the heavy armor. Right? Is that right? No, because it's this guy right here. So no, that's not the case. It's a 2, and a 2-1 is a 1-step loss for the attacker. So that's a bummer. It is definitely a bummer. So I think we'll do this. We'll just reduce that one. I could have retreated them out. Maybe I should do that. Retreat them out. We'll retreat them out instead of taking that step loss. So they'll just back up to here. And I don't think we're overstacked here. I'll have to count it. We've got, let's see, 3, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, they are overstacked if I do that. All right, you know what? We're going to take the step loss and stay where we were. So that is that there, and this goes back here. And that is the end of the Soviet turn, and we would then go back to the German turn. But I think what we'll do here is we'll stop. I hope you got a general idea of how the game works from this video and the previous video. If I had more time and I thought there was enough interest to do an entire scenario playthrough, I would do so, but I don't think that's the case. If you disagree with that, and there's, more than 2, 3, whatever people that want to see the rest, then let me know, and maybe I'll consider it. But I have a lot of plans and a lot of games to play, so hopefully this will stand at least as a way to show people how to play the game. And I may play the other scenario, maybe Battle for Pomerania. Maybe I may do that separately in a future video. But for now, that will do it for this one. I do appreciate you guys watching. Actually, you know what? Let's do another German term, because there's some things I can show that might be a little interesting here, because there is a rule for disengagement, which might be interesting. So here is the rule for it. A unit can only leave an Ezok hex voluntarily by disengagement, and general disengagement costs +2 movement points. Mechanized units may disengage during both initial and mechanized movement phases. The first hex of disengagement in unit enters must be a non-Ezok hex. A unit may not disengage from one by entering another. And you can move out into a non-Ezok and then move into another Ezok. All right, so keeping in mind that our movement points are halved, if I wanted to say move this guy, he could do it because he can pay. Well, could he do it? Let me check, because here's what I was thinking. I could move him down into here, right? Which is a swamp hex. So let's see. Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, they can always move at least one. So they would pay 2 for this and then move over here to that to kind of get the disengaging from that stack there and moving up into a more easily defendable hex, because they're behind a river now. And then we can also move this guy, because he can go 1, 2, because the road touches that hex. So that would enable him to also be both behind a river and also be in swamp. And swamp, in case you're wondering, on a terrain effects chart, or yeah, swamp is still a 1L, but you get another 2L or 2 to the left for the attack across a river. Of course, now we've got a situation where the Russians can just head that way. But, you know, we can also move the Großdeutschland Panzer in this direction to kind of swing around. We also have the 23rd Division up here, which, while not that strong, would be able to perhaps cause, via Ezoks and sitting in, you know, decent terrain. We've got lakes and stuff here, which block zone of control and supply. So you couldn't, if you were sitting here, you could not exert an Ezok, or a Zok rather, into this hex or this hex, because we have a lake hex side. And so what I'm saying is, without going in and doing it and showing it, I'm just trying to kind of demonstrate a couple of things you might consider. I also did not take advantage of the mechanized movement phase, which is also something you can do after the combat phase here on our sequence of play, right? You check your supply, and then you can move all armored, motorized, mechanized, cavalry, and HQ units. Again, all units with the movement allowance in a white box. So, like, for example, these guys, they've got a white, looks more gray, but it's basically a white box. Because they're a cavalry unit, they could move again. They would also have to disengage, of course, because we've got their zone of control. They're in the Ezoks of these 2 guys, and they would have to go out here, and then they could. So I could, for example, go boom, boom, because you can leave, you have to leave, and then you can go back in. So we could do that on the next Soviet turn, or in the mechanized movement phase, which I skipped and went right to the end of the air phase, essentially, which we also skipped because there's no air in this turn, and there's no air interdiction anyway in this scenario or game. So that's generally how I'm going to leave it. I hope you've got a good feel for the game. Of course, it's built on some older games from the SPI days, and so the rule system It's kind of a classic rules. It's not overly complicated. The rules weigh in at 15 pages. And so they're not hard to understand. They're not hard to remember, unless you're me and you're trying to talk and remember at the same time. So you forget certain things sometimes. But that's a recurring theme, as you probably know if you watch my stuff frequently. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. Good game, good series. I have not yet played the other volumes, but I'm sure they are enjoyable. This, of course, is 1945, and I think we have one for 41 and 43. I believe Volume 1 is 41 and Volume 2 is 43 or 44. It might be 44. Actually, I think it is 44. I think Volume 2 is 44. So this is Volume 3, which is 45. And then Volume 4, I think, is 42. And then there would be a fifth volume for 43, or vice versa. I would have to look at the Decision Games website. So anybody who has the time and energy to do so, they can check that out themselves. They don't have to wait for me to figure it out. But anyway, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. As always, please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing. But that will do it. Thanks as always. And until next time, and I just realized I cut off some of the stuff I was doing, and I apologize for that. It would be down in this corner area here. Use your other hand, Joe. That will do it. I'm Joe. This is Hexed Encountered. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.